All right, great Wednesday morning, one. Hope you're doing well. And Cesar Mascoro Jr. with Manufactured Home Sales Mastery with our 15 minutes to mastery that we do each and every day to get you some information, inspiration, motivation so that you can go out and attack the day. I'm coming to you live from Tyler, Texas. Mobile Home Masters is where we're at. And we've got episode number 519 of our 15 minutes to mastery, where today I want to talk to you about earning the right to take the next step with your buyers. I want to talk to you about slowing down to go fast. I want to talk to you about the mistake that so many housing consultants make in thinking that when they have a customer on the phone or maybe even responding to an ad or especially in front of you, that you have already won. You're thinking of the end, you're thinking of the purchase. And look, we're going through all of this to get to the end. However, when you're thinking about the end throughout the process, you tend to skip steps. You tend to rush through the process. You tend to miss a lot in this. And we feel that these buyers don't move in the way that they should, but it's because we're not earning the right to take the next step. Me as a housing consultant doesn't mean that just because I'm sitting here in this office and if a buyer sat in front of me that I can just go from A and jump all the way to Z without earning the right to take every single step. Rand Fishkin writes, best way to sell something, don't sell anything. Earn the awareness, respect, and trust of those who might buy. Earn the awareness, respect, and trust. And we do that by being able to help this buyer go through what they need to go through mentally, emotionally, from the moment they first respond to an ad to when they actually are in front of you. And I want to get into that because, like I mentioned at the onset, too many housing consultants, too many community managers, we get so much in a rush with everything else that we're doing. We start thinking about these whatever reports you may have to get done or whatever else you may have to do, and you're not fully present in that moment when you're either making calls or responding to people that have responded to you on your ads, or especially when they're sitting in front of us. Right? We're thinking of other things, or because they're in front of us, we think that we can just ask what they're looking for, and we're going to rush them out to go show them home, or we skip going over the financial part of the whole interview and finding out what kind of budget they're working with and things of that nature. For some reason you think it's not important, or you may think that the buyer is rushed and they're not really wanting to go through all those questions. Look, in reality, you stop to think about it. Nobody really likes to go through all of those questions, whether they're buying a house or you're buying a car or all these things. Maybe you want to show up, you want to get the thing done, and you want to move on. However, you as a professional have to understand that it is a lot more intense. It is a lot more nerve wracking and a lot more important when it comes to buying a home than most other things. The other thing that you have to keep in mind is this: every single buyer, even though they want to buy the home, I tell you that all the time, right? They would not show up just to tell you no. They are there because they want to buy a house. They may be convincing themselves that they don't want to do it today. They may be convincing themselves that they want to go shop. They may be convincing themselves that they're going to have to take somebody else into consideration. However, they all showed up or they all called you because they want to say yes. They have hope of saying yes. But at the same time, there's the fear, there's the insecurity, there's the doubt. As humans, we all prefer certainty. And when it comes to buying a home, that is probably one of the most uncertain things, not because they're not certain they want a home. Everybody needs a home to live in. What they're uncertain about is whether or not they can actually do it. They're uncertain about the commitment. They're uncertain about how the financing works. They're uncertain whether or not your product is worth what you say that it is. They're uncertain about how everything is going to play out. And when you skip steps, when you're not taking them through every single step that they need to go through. It's not about you. It's not about how good you can speak. And hey, man, how long you've been doing it, whether or not you can skip from meeting them to you don't have to build any rapport. You can just ask them what they're looking for, and you're going to be able to sell them on a house out there. It's not about you. It's not about us, the housing. So it's about that buyer and the things that they need to go through mentally and emotionally in order to make the decision they wanted to make. So you skipping these steps because I've been doing this 20 years and I can find out what they need and I can do my thing. I can do my song and dance out there and convince them. It's not about that. You see, you would be able to help so many more families. You'd be able to help other families that hadn't even considered a manufactured home. If you understood that it's not about you, it's not about how good you are, it's about how well you can take a buyer through those steps. I read an article that was shared with me yesterday through one of our clients, and I may have talked about it yesterday on 15 Minutes Master, but there was an article that was shared with me, and it's from Tony Robbins, and he was describing what is called the 6 steps of transformation that a person needs to go through before they make a decision, any sort of decision, especially when something important or bad has happened. They have to go through these 6 steps. And we have to take those buyers mentally, emotionally, psychologically through those 6 steps. And that's why having a process in place that you follow every single time is important. You see, when you can do that, now you make it so much easier for that buyer to say yes, because I've described it so many times. I tell you all the time, buyers come in wanting to say yes. However, they've got doubts about construction. They got doubts about financing. They got doubts that other people planted in their head. They got doubts about whether or not that home is going to lose value. They got doubts about how the warranties work. They got so many doubts. They've got doubts about interest rates. They've got doubts about everything and anything. And when because you've been doing this 5 years, 2 years, 20 years, 50 years, I don't care, because you think you're that good, and it's not even about you. You're making it more about your ego than anything else. And you think I don't have to do all of this. Man, I don't have to go through all of these questions because I'm good enough to be able to get that information on my own. It's not about that. You're not taking that buyer through those steps that they need to go through in here and in here to be able to answer, to be able to say yes, to make that decision they want to make. You're not taking them through these things to eliminate those doubts, and you have them out there looking at those homes, and in the back of their mind, they're still thinking about that question, those several questions they had that you haven't even addressed yet, because you haven't seen the importance in slowing down enough to go through all of this. But when you can do that, it completely shifts. It shifts the way things go. It shifts just how effective you are. It shifts everything from the moment you speak to them on the phone, because you're building trust from that moment, to when they actually are in front of you, because now they know you, they see you, they get to talk to you. Now you're real, and now with your professionalism and the education that you bring to the table in helping them slow them down, because they may come in and say, well, we just want to go look at these houses, but you have to understand this thing. They need the information which you have in here. Well, I'll give it to them out there. No, you see, when you're out there, they're so focused on the homes that whatever you're saying, they're not catching. So you're doing them a disservice, because you're allowing them to not go through what they need to go through to make a decision. And that's why it never fails that whenever I travel, nowhere, it doesn't matter, anywhere across the country that I travel and I go show up and we go do work at, I can jump in a CRM, I can jump in old files, and I can start calling leads from 2 years ago. And the majority of them, over 60%, have not bought a home. Why? Because they come into some place that the sales consultant runs them right out because, oh, that's what they wanted to do. Or they come in, they skip steps, they don't build rapport, they want to rush back out because they think in the house is where they're going to get it done. And the people end up not buying, they end up leaving. And here's the thing, you're doing them a disservice because most of the times they don't go to that other place. Most of the times they don't end up making a decision to buy. And most of the time they wind up back at the place they're at because that's what is more certain to them, because that's what they've been living in up until that point, whether it's with family, whether they're renting, whether it's an apartment, whatever the situation. Most people end up back in the same type of situation because that's more familiar to them. It's more certain. They don't have doubts of it because they've been living it. They may not like it, but they've been living in that situation. So that's familiar to them, because you didn't slow down enough to be able to help them understand the importance of learning everything they need to learn, of having the conversations that you're going to have with them, of building that connection so that they can trust you and confide in you the questions and the doubts and the fears that they have. See, when you can do that, it changes everything for you. That's right. Rolando writes, being tour guides, man, that's one of the things that it chaps my hide whenever a sales consultant is out there just running straight out to the house and showing stuff around, being that tour guide. But listen, let's talk about the steps. Let's talk about these things that you have to go through in order to be able to help that buyer go through those steps of transformation to be able to make that decision. First and foremost, look, you have to have marketing that builds trust. Are you posting ads that show the house for $500, $1,000, $10,000 because, I put in the description that that's the down payment, or I put in the description that that's the application fee? Show the house, give the full price. Well, what if it's going to go somewhere else? Give the full price without delivery set and AC, whatever it is that you, plus options. But put the full price. Be transparent. Transparency. You keep hearing about it so much, right nowadays with the administration. This is the most transparent administration. We like that as humans. We like cars being out of the table. If that house is $180,000, put $180,000. Even if that includes delivery, but it's only within 50 miles or 100 miles or whatever your store shows, put that on there. Delivery within 150 miles. However you want to note it, put the full price. Start with marketing that builds trust. Second, you're prospecting from calls to chat that shows you care. Slow down. Ask the questions. What are we trying to find out when we're talking to folks before we set an appointment? I'll share with you right now 3 things. Why are you looking for a home? Who's going to live in that home? And what's the most important feature about the house, or what would you like to have in the home? Those are the 3 things you want to find out. See, somebody may call you, hey, I saw this ad you have, or I saw this ad you have online. Want to find out about this house. Great, fantastic. What has you looking for a home? Start there. Well, what's the price on that? The price is just like it shows there, Mr. Customer, $159,000. But let me ask you, what has you looking for a home? Why are they looking? Who's going to live in it? And what's important to them in the house? You want to find those things out. It shows that you care, and they are more likely to actually show up to the appointment. And when they show up to the appointment, you got to have rapport that builds a connection, that builds trust. Slow down, man. Don't get into business. Get to know them a little bit. Speak to them. Build that connection between you and them and what they like to do, or where they're from. That's always been my go-to anytime I had somebody come in. So tell me, where are you from? And we would just have a conversation about that, because somewhere in that conversation, there's going to be something that we can connect on. And now I've built connection. I've built more trust. And that allows me now to be able to go through this interview with them. It allows me to go through this interview with them in a manner that I can educate them. I can ask the deeper questions. I can ask the more intense questions. I can go into this and really find out, peel back the layers about not just what they're looking for in a home, but why they're looking for a home. What's most important in a home? Find out about their money situation and all of these things, because I've taken the time to build the trust, to build the connection. slow down and understand that, man, some of this stuff they're not going to understand. They're not going to, they may have concerns about the construction of the house, and being able to explain these things up front before we go in the home. Explain it here and tell them you're going to show them what you mean when you're out in the houses, but you have to educate them, right? Because in that interview, you build that confidence that eliminates the doubts. Every buyer has doubts. And when you're making it about you, I've been doing this a long time, right? I know what I'm doing. Why do I have to do all of that? It's not about you. They haven't been doing it a long time. They need you to do better. They need you to educate them. They need you to answer the questions, but that means you have to actually ask the questions to find out what the doubts are, what the insecurity, and if they don't ask you questions, you need to ask them. If they don't ask you any sort of, hey, well, how does this work? Or I'm not sure about that. Or I heard about this and I heard that the houses lose value. If you don't get any of that, you need to bring it up, because I promise you it's in there. They may not be sharing it with you. They may be too embarrassed to ask you, whatever it is. But you have to understand they all have some sort of doubts. So eliminate those, because now you can talk about their finances. You can talk about their income. When you've done all this, now you can ask these questions. How much do you make an hour? What's your income like? What kind of debts do you have? If you can pull credit and at your location, now that you're more likely to get them to accept pulling their credit, because they trust you. They've seen that you're there to educate you. You've been empathetic. All of these things. You have to make it make sense to them. This is how mortgages are working now. Higher rates. This is based on your income. This is where you really need to be. Everything I'm going to show you is in this range. You don't have to worry about that now that we know these things. And once you're out there showing those homes, you show them in a manner that creates buy-in. You show them in a manner that relates to what they wanted, what they needed, and how they are going to best use that home. It's not about you and the deal and the house and the one. That's the one I got to get off the lot. Look, we all game plan those houses that need to get moved, but it has to be something that's going to benefit your buyer so that they can have buy-in. And so when you find that perfect home, now you have to ask for the business with full intention in their perfect home, not yours, not the one that benefits you, but the one that benefits them. It may not be the most expensive. It may not be the one that's going to get you the most GP. It may not. But remember, we're here to solve problems. And the more problems you solve, the more sales you'll get. So not everyone is going to be everything that you want it to be, but it's about helping those families. And the more you do that, the more you get rewarded. So make sure you're asking for the business with full intention in their perfect home, but be ready to overcome objections based on their emotional reason, based on the reason why they're trying to buy a house. Don't get confrontational. Don't get defensive. What do you mean you've got to go think about it? I thought we talked about. They're nervous. They're scared. They're uncertain. Address that. Help them see the benefit. Help them see how you can understand that they're nervous, but let's find out what they're nervous about. Let's address that, and let's help them get across. And that's where this final thing is: just take the lead on guiding your buyer through the post-sale process. Don't just hand them an application. Hey, fill this out. Spend some time with them. Get them to make sure that they're answering the right questions. They're giving the right information. Make the phone calls that need to be made. Call the counties, call the cities, call whatever. Everyone that needs to be involved. Do all of this up front. Invest the time, because if that deal ends up going through, it's going to go that much faster. You're slowing down to go fast, but it's about how well you have earned the right to the next step. I market to get leads. So I've got to earn the right with my marketing to get the leads. When I get the leads and I'm communicating with them, I'm earning the right to ask for the appointment. I'm earning the right. It's not about it's me. I need to make sure I'm earning it by having the right type of conversations. Earn the right to ask for the appointment. When they come in, I have to earn the right to be able to get into the interview and ask them the personal questions. And when I've asked the personal questions and educated them and helped them get through it, I'm earning the right to now show them homes that they can make a decision on today, not next week, not next month, not tomorrow, today. But I have to earn that right by everything that I've done before this. And when I'm out in those homes, I have to earn the right to ask for the business. And when I do, and I get these objections, the concerns, the doubts, I have to overcome these objections in a manner that I earn the right to move forward. Application, down payment, conditions, so that then I can earn the right to actually take this deal all the way to the finish line. When you operate in this manner of thinking about earning the right for the next step, not earning the sale, earning the right to take the next step, you will take your buyers through that emotional and psychological process, and you're going to win a whole lot more. So my recommendation to you, if you're struggling to get appointments, slow down on those calls. Make sure your marketing is the right type of marketing. If you're struggling in the appointment, slow down with them. Get to know them a little bit more before you talk business. Be that source of information. Give them everything they need to eliminate the doubts. You know what people are concerned about. Address those. Even if they didn't say, hey, a lot of folks, they're concerned about manufactured homes and losing value. Let me explain to you why that's not the case at this point in time anymore, in the majority of cases. Address those things up front, even if that's not something that they had a doubt on. Because the more you do this, the more you come across as a professional, but earn the right for everything. You operate in that manner, you're going to see things just really, really clear up for you. You'll see the opportunity ahead, and you're going to operate at a whole much more efficient and effective level. And that's what we want for you, because we want to see you thrive, not just survive. You guys have a great Wednesday. Go out there and do some great things. We're going to get into the day really doing what we do, but a lot of stuff to do today, and I'm sure you're busy as well. So you guys go out there. We'll be back in tomorrow with another 15 minutes of mastery. And if there's anything that we can help to take your life, your business, your career to a whole new level, please feel free to reach out to us. Let us know, because we're here to help you. All right. You guys have a great one. We'll be talking soon. And as always, my friends, can't wait to meet you.